Welcome, and thanks for joining us for our fourth We Are Guitar broadcast. We've got a particularly exciting show to share with you. Carlos Rafael Rivera is our guest. He's the Emmy-winning composer of the music for the Netflix series Godless and the Queen's Gambit, and the director of the media writing and production program at the University of Miami. We've also created a special ensemble arrangement of Carlos's solo guitar piece, Cancion, which he'll be performing with lead guitar students around the country later in the show. And two talented young soloists will join us to meet and share a video performance with Carlos. And we'll hear a guitar orchestra performance by the Austin Classical Guitar Youth Orchestra. As always, have your guitar at the ready. Later in the show, we'll share the music and some playing tips so you can join the Cancion virtual ensemble. We'll also have our mini-masterclass with Professor Denis Azabagić, who will be working with us on some left-hand coordination exercises for guitarists. So lots of great stuff to get to. Before we get to all of that, though, let's check in with lead guitar students from Chicago and Phoenix, talking about how playing guitar makes them feel in our Sound Off segment.
I play the guitar because it gives me a sense of freedom. It lets my mind be able to roam free because of all the different sounds and songs you could play from it.
When I play guitar, I feel comfortable and great about it. I feel good and lucky to be in guitar.
Guitar helps me relax.
I want to express my thoughts through music. Guitar also helps me feel good about myself. Whenever I complete a piece, I feel very accomplished.
When I play the guitar, I feel happy.
Guitar helps me feel calm, and then when I feel stressed, I just play guitar.
Guitar helps me focus on my goals.
When I play guitar, I feel calm and relaxed.
I feel calm.
I feel relaxed.
I feel happy.
I feel great.
Music has helped me a lot through any problems I get, especially any stress from schoolwork. Playing the guitar gets me really excited, especially when I get a new song to learn. I try to play it to the best of my abilities, even if it's a hard song. I practice and practice until I get better. I started playing the guitar last year, and I've seen all the improvements I've made, and I also see all the improvements I have to make to get better and to succeed.
Sweet stuff. So some other great young people. We're going to hear next a group of young guitarists from Austin, Texas. The Austin Classical Guitar Youth Orchestra is one of the premier youth guitar ensembles in the world. This clip is from a 2019 performance at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. Here's the ACGYO performing Danza del Molinero by Manuel de Falla, conducted by Joe Williams, artistic director and composer in residence for Austin Classical Guitar. Man, I can't believe they're that good. And the problem with playing in a guitar orchestra is the sound is so immediate. It sounds like a bunch of splats if you're not right on the split second. It's so hard to be as tight as they were. So way to go, Austin Classical Guitar. Very good. So it's time to introduce our guest, Carlos Rafael Rivera. I've had a ton of fun exploring his music, and I'm about halfway through watching the series The Queen's Gambit. If any of you guys have seen it, don't blow it for me. I don't know the ending yet. So let's take a moment, speaking of The Queen's Gambit, to listen to Carlos's title music for the series as we bring him on. Carlos, welcome to the show, and congratulations on your extraordinary success with Godless and The Queen's Gambit.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we were just watching the title music as we were rolling into getting to meet you. Was not using guitar in The Queen's Gambit challenging, liberating, or both? And kind of what was your approach to writing that score in general?
But I was freaking out because guitar is like my main instrument, and it's only the last few years that I've really been playing piano, and I've gotten quite decent at piano, but not in a live performance sort of thing, but just understanding how the instrument works. And the director, Scott Frank, said he wanted a piano-based score for The Queen's Gambit. He wanted actually initially only a piano score, like just piano. The orchestra elements had to come in. We had to color the piano with more instruments. So it became a thing that needed to become like an organic growth, just like she was growing as a character. So by the time we get to the 7th and final episode, the piano is nowhere to be found, or it's going to be hard to find piano. Her reality is going to be orchestra because she's developed that much. So that was kind of the, something that happened as we were going through the process. So yes, no guitar, and there's like no guitar in any cues whatsoever.
What brought you to music as a child, and tell us a few of those steps that took you to USC and Randy Newman?
I always was affected by music. I took piano lessons when I was like 6 for like a year, and then we moved to Costa Rica. Then we moved to Panama, and in Panama I was like 11, and I took classical guitar lessons for 1 year. Then my brother joined a band, and in a rock band, and I was like 4 years younger than him, but I would go to his rehearsals, and I was the uncool kid, the little brother who's annoying there because I was there with my guitar, and they were certainly not going to let me play. And but I would be in awe of like, they're making music with like these instruments. And so when I moved to Miami, we moved to Miami by the time I was 14, I was already playing electric guitar, obsessed with all the rock bands that you can imagine. The fact that I was studying classical music and writing classical music, but I had been in a rock band, and Randy Newman was on the board. And they would do this mentorship program where they would pair people with students, and you would apply. And I applied and I got them. And I couldn't believe it because at that time I was going on a Randy Newman tear.
There aren't a lot of composition classes or music theory classes in American public schools anymore. And we see a lot of students in lead guitar that might want to study composition when they get to college. So give us a point of advice or two about what kids could do who might want to study composition or even film scoring in college, but don't have access to formal training.
The reason you learn theory, reason you learn all of these tricks is not because you're going to be some theoretical composer. It's because when you're stuck, you know where to go. You know where to pull from. I'm stuck. What can I do? What does this sound like? Oh, it sounds like, what do they do? How do they get out of that problem? How did this composer figure their way out to the next harmony? What harmonies did they go to after they went through these three? Because I did them. So much listening can help. So much listening can just expand and broaden your opportunities to pull things from, so you can kind of get through your own problems that you've created in the process of writing.
Well, that's amazing information and something that our students can actually work with. Thank you for that much detail. And that's a perfect fit to lead into Michael Webster, who's our first student performer that we're going to listen to. So Michael is from Maryvale High School in Phoenix, Arizona, and he's going to be playing Home by Andrew York for us. And then after we get to watch his video, I suspect he'll have some composition-related questions for you. So Robbie, if you don't mind, let's roll Michael's performance video. Michael, that's amazing playing, my goodness.
Thank you.
Nice.
Very impressive playing. How did you come to learn Home?
Well, so a friend of mine that I played guitar with was trying to learn it, and I was like, it sounds really cool. Eventually, he quit on the song because he couldn't get his hands around it, and I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And eventually it became a song that I played a lot with my guitar friends.
Oh, you knocked it out of the park. Nicely done. So do you have a question for Carlos?
I do, actually. Carlos, I listened to the soundtracks for Godless and The Queen's Gambit. Really good work.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed listening to that. Curious, what kind of inspirations did you have when you were writing in that style? Or did you have any?
Once you start working on things like Godless, you realize that the research you're doing is of what are the tropes of the genre. And if it's a Western, you're going to have harmonica, and you're going to have all of these things that just come along with a slide guitar. And then you learn enough about it, and you start trying things with these things, and you realize, oh my gosh, harmonica is not going to work because it's going to sound really cheesy. And it did. Every time I tried harmonica on Godless, it was like a disaster, and the director was upset. And so you're like, okay, no harmonica for Godless. And so it's not, you get inspired, I think, somewhere after about 70 or 80% of the work has been done, you start having moments that start to come together musically. And certainly happened in The Queen's Gambit, and it certainly happened in Godless, where like the final scene from Godless was a major iteration of a theme that had been in a minor key. And when I hit that could be called inspiration or a lucky moment. In finding it, I was overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh. But then, because it's film, it's not your decision. The director has to approve it. I do think of it more as a skill or a craft that you develop on understanding how to work with dialogue, how to work with sound, versus having to, just write in an inspired fashion. It's a very seldom thing when that happens.
Well, Michael, we're so proud of the work you did to submit this video. You're great playing. So we'll be keeping an eye on you, and you let us know what you need, and let Andrew, your instructor, know what you need to keep moving forward. But great job. Thank you for submitting that video.
Thank you very much. That was very cool.
Thank you for having me,
Michael.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to bring on our second student soloist. This is Jesus Magallon from Acero Victoria Soto High School in Chicago, and he's playing Malagueña. If you'd like to find the music, it's in Lead Guitar, Book 1. Man, that was really good playing. Jesus, congratulations. That's a tough piece. The very last piece in Lead Guitar Book 1, which kind of feels like a graduation moment. Nicely played. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, man.
So I bet you've got a question for Carlos.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, what inspired you to be like to be a composer?
I think I know there's a specific moment. It was in college where I decided to do that for real, because I was studying accounting and I was going to get an accounting degree. And I took a music appreciation class. By the time I was in college, I'd already been like in a few rock bands. I'd been in a rock band with my brother. We had made a record, and it was like, it was like doing that sort of thing. And when I say a record, means a demo cassette in 1989 and 90, and it never got released. It was just our own self-made kind of thing. And I was taking a music appreciation class, and the teacher is Jay Brown, ended up playing a piece called The Rite of Spring. And something happened in that moment when I heard it, and I could not believe it was real. I just could not understand The Rite of Spring. I was so blown away. And the reason why I think I made a decision to really become a composer was because Jay Brown was walking around with the score in class. It was a music appreciation class, like 101 in college. But he was walking around with the score by Dover, the publisher. And then there was this big moment in The Rite of Spring where the orchestra goes, "Bwah!" Like this big, massive trombone slide thing. And then I didn't know it was a trombone slide. I just heard "bwah," right? And all of a sudden he walked by me at that moment, and he is walking around the whole class, and all of a sudden he showed the notes, and it was literally like two notes going down like a slide. And I was like, oh, that's all it is. And all of a sudden the idea of it being humanly possible, and in my case cubanly possible, to do something like that was really a redirection in my thinking, because I was like, someone wrote these notes on paper and someone else transferred those notes into reality. That little thing was really the turning point in my life, from loving music, making music, to composing music for that group, for that instrumentation, for the big ensemble. That was the big education for me and the turning point.
The Rite of Spring, that changed music history. The tyranny of the bar line, as Stravinsky used to say, he broke free of the tyranny of the bar line with that piece.
Yeah, The Rite of Spring is definitely it is the stairway to heaven of classical music, if you will.
Well, Jesus, so now we've got an assignment for you. You've got to go find The Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky and listen to that. All right? So we're very proud of your playing, Jesus. Way to go. Thanks for submitting the video. And are you a senior in high school already?
No, I'm a junior.
Junior, good. I'm glad. That way we got one more year with you. So I'll get to see you next year in Chicago when I visit. So I look forward to getting to meet you in person. All right. See you soon, Jesus. And Carlos, we thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been such a privilege to get to have you with us. And boy, to learn about all of your film scoring and how you approach it, it's really meaningful stuff for our students. Thank you for that.
No, thank you for having me. It's been a privilege to be here and for the work you guys are doing, which is the good work. So very grateful for your time and for giving me time to be with you.
Well, thank you. And to our viewers watching right now, you're going to get to see Carlos again in a few minutes when we do our Cancion play-along, something that was originally a solo piece of Carlos's. So we'll all look forward to that. And Carlos, see you soon. Thank you so much. We'll look to stay connected with you because I think you've got a lot to offer our students. So we'll keep in touch.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carlos. Well, it's really fitting that we're rolling from Carlos Rafael Rivera right into our friend Denis Azabagić, because when I was talking to Carlos earlier in the week, he was saying he really credited Denis with helping his early career. When you won the GFA, Denis, and you played Whirler of the Dance on tour and then began to commission Carlos. Anyway, interesting stuff, but Denis is here, as always, for our mini-masterclass. So Denis, what are you going to be talking about this episode?
Hi, Brad. Thank you again for having me here. And yes, Carlos is a very, very dear friend, and I love him for so many things, and I'm just thrilled that we have today him on our show. So today I want to talk a little bit about independence of left hand fingers, which are not only important for, like a classical type of playing when we play something like this, but also in our like a chord exchanges, something like that. One thing to point out, which is very important, usually when we start learning chords, what I see in students is they tend to change the chord by looking one finger at a time and placing it on the string, and then finding the next chord and then again playing it one by one, which is in a sense unavoidable when we are starting. But I want to stress out that it's important also to start figuring out the way to move all the fingers in the same time for that particular chord. So here, if I'm going like for D major to A major to E major, I'm moving all three fingers in the same time, reshaping that chord position from one to another. And I want to give you one little exercise, which I find it tremendously helpful. So let's start in the fifth position, meaning we are starting on the fifth fret with all four fingers of our left hand on a first string, what I call our like a alignment position. And now let's move fingers in pairs in absolutely very synchronous way, meaning I would lift up fingers 1 and 2 and place them on a second string, and then fingers 3 and 4, lifting them up together and placing them over to the third string, moving 1 and 2 again, lifting them up in the same time and placing them on the fourth string, and continuing in the same fashion. 3 and 4 skip over to the fifth, 1 and 2 skip to the sixth, and they are joined by third and fourth finger again on the sixth string. Now moving downwards, fingers 1 and 2 together, fingers 3 and 4 lifting and coming down in the same way, fingers 1 and 2 lifting up and coming down to the third string, 3 and 4 lift up and come down to the second, fingers 1 and 2 come to the first string, and finally they are joined by fingers 3 and 4 again on that same position. So what we are doing, we are really pairing and in an absolutely synchronous manner two fingers that we want to control, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, like unit of two soldiers working absolutely together. Next combination would be fingers 1 and 4, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, 2 and 3, same strings, same skipping over one pair and another. You see here 1 and 4, I'm just going to do it a little bit quicker, And then finally, when you master these two, this is gonna be real fun when you try to move 1 and 3 in the same time, and then 2 and 4. And I tell you, it's gonna be a lots of fun when you start the first time. They don't want to cooperate. But with a little bit of a time, you can move them as what I call a spider. That's why I call this exercise a spider exercise. So have fun.
Denis, I can't believe you can do that last one that fast. It actually looks like a spider when you're doing it at that speed.
I'm trying.
But you make it look easy. I know it's not, but for people just watching that who don't play guitar, or if you're not playing along, it looks easy, but it's very difficult because that third finger always wants to move with another finger. It's so hard to make it independent, isn't it?
But this really creates in your mind, it creates these pathways where you can pair different fingers and the different combinations, and it gives you great ability to control them, as I said. Whether, when it comes to moving the chords, deceptively we think that the chords are easier to play this rather than something like that. Because here, obviously, like I played so fast, but finger by finger, it's easier to move than all the fingers in the same time, reshaping them. So this exercise is going to help you in that way, I think.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to get home and get right on it too. Thank you, Denis. Great advice and great to see you as always. All right, this is the moment our students at home have been waiting for. It's time for our virtual guitar ensemble. We're performing an arrangement of Cancion, which Carlos Rafael Rivera originally composed for solo guitar. He and lead guitar students from all over the country have made videos of themselves playing a part in the ensemble, and you'll see those rolling by in just a second as we play the play-along clip. So the video has scrolling sheet music, which includes chords and a very easy ensemble part for those of you who would like to sight read with us. If you'd like to take a deeper dive into one of the more difficult parts, you can pause the broadcast and go to leadguitar.org, where you'll find scores and practice videos by clicking the We Are Guitar navigation under Events. So let me grab my guitar, and I'll just show you some of the things you kind of need to keep track of to play along effectively. So we're in the key of D major, and we've got 4 chords. They're D major, G major, E minor, and C major. Mostly through the whole song, we're really just switching between D and G, which is easy enough. The difficult thing here is the frequently changing time signatures. The quarter note pulse stays the same, but the meter changes literally every single measure. So you got to watch that as the music scrolls by. So on that simple ensemble part, let me show you how it sounds, and I'll count along so you can get a sense of what the meter's doing. It's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Like that. You can see what I mean about that meter. So that's it. You've got everything you need to play along, so have fun. And here we go. Roll it, Robbie. That is such beautiful music. Tomek, have you ever played the solo arrangement of that?
No, I've never played it.
I hadn't either, but when I got the music to make that arrangement, I started playing it, and it's beautiful, and it's really easy to play, too. It just fits right into your fingers. It doesn't sound easy, but it's great. So students at home, Cancion, check out the solo piece. It's something you can probably play pretty easily, those of you who have made it into lead guitar book, too. So I'm so glad you guys had a chance to take a part in that, those of you who did. Remember, if you'd like to check out ensemble parts and practice videos ahead of time for the next broadcast, keep an eye on the We Are Guitar page at leadguitar.org. You'll find sheet music also from some of the solos you hear on the broadcast. Thanks so much to all of our students who submitted videos and to all of you at home for tuning in and playing along. We have 2 more shows coming up in late spring to celebrate the end of the school year. So look out for those. And until next time, stay safe and please take good care of each other.